Hey guys, this is episode 12 of This Is Gonna Die. This is gonna be a little bit different. This week's episode is just gonna be me. Everyone else is just kind of busy tonight, and I've actually been meaning to do this for a while because intentionally, I was I wanted to do a podcast just kind of by myself with having different guests on every week. Uh, Not necessarily guests, but people that had like experiences in a certain field or some type of life experience that I felt like they could share with everyone else. So, yeah, this is just me on this one though. So I'm just gonna see how this goes, and so just try to ignore the awkward silences or the weirdness that may exude from me. Um, yeah. So this is episode 12. I'm surprised I'm still doing this after all this time. I mean, I've wanted to do podcast for a while, but just for whatever reason, I just didn't do it until Nick and Lorenzo decided to do it with me. I guess it just makes it easier when you have support coming from people. Um, so yeah, I'm really surprised we're still doing them, and I just recently got on iTunes. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, but it's kind of annoying having YouTube open. It drains the battery. If you're using an iPhone, I guess look us up. This is gonna die on iTunes, or if you're using a regular Android phone, uh, I don't know if you already listen to the podcast, but if you do, check out a podcast application. The one that I use and a couple of other friends use is one called Podcast Addict. That's personally my favorite. I've gone through a bunch of those applications, and to me, this one is easily my favorite, the most user friendly, with the best features, and it's free, so it's always good. All right, there's a couple things I kind of wanted to get into. Um, Somebody on Facebook posted this really interesting, like a little uh collage of pictures, and there's basically like to explain it. There's in one picture it'll literally be like a mom saying like holding up a sign that says I co-sleep with my child, and then her mom next to her that says something like my child sleeps in her crib every night, and just so on and so forth. And it's basically it shows all the oppositions of how people raise their kids and the differences and stuff. And it's basically trying to say like quit judging each other. Parents need to quit judging each other. If you're not a parent, I'll break it down pretty quick. The vast majority of all parents seem to like judge each other, and I'm guilty of this myself. If you have a kid, you've more than likely have already done it yourself. The only thing is, when I've done it, it's usually not little things like that. Like that stuff's kind of like if you want to sleep with your kid or not, that's really up to you. I don't know if there's a bad or good way. Kids aren't all the same either, so that's really kind of unique to your child and the relationship you have with them. Uh, the stuff that I've always kind of like been annoyed at and I've kind of been judgmental about is like seeing people have like toddlers not in their car seats, leaving your car in like the gas station, even if the windows are down. It's like weird to leave your kid in a car at all. Giving like 1 year old like Chinese food or Mexican food, like I guess it's not such a big deal. I don't know, but that was when I was a lot younger, so I don't know. I can't help but notice these things, but I guess we do judge them though because we're really passionate. But then some people do it because they just feel like once you have a kid, people think like they know everything, and everything they do is the right way, and no one else knows how to do it the right way because it's not their way. People are very judgmental in the parenting world. If you have friends with kids, ask them. You'll find out. People are very judgmental. Like I said, also including me sometimes. So we probably should really break that habit. Um, it also like puts like this border up between you and other parents. Like our kids like make friends and stuff, and then we have to deal with each other as parents, and we're probably annoyed with each other. I don't know. It just seems like something we should just stop kind of doing. Uh, because like I said earlier, everyone's just kind of unique. so we should probably cut that out. Anyway, what else do I want to talk about? So, okay, I don't know if this was Texas news or like just here in the U.S., but there was a report of a woman who apparently got out of work and then went to the daycare to pick up her kid, and then realized the kid wasn't there, and she had like left her kid in the car, and I guess the kid is deceased, but was deceased by that time. And that sounds horrible. That's a horrible way to die for anyone, much less a small child. And it also kind of sounds like bullshit. I think that's happened a couple times. I think a dad did that here in Texas maybe a year or two ago, where he said he forgot the kid in the car. It sounds like bullshit though. I mean, these kids are the most important things in our lives, and somehow you forget their existence. I just don't buy it. On top of that, kids are not like quiet either. Like you're gonna know if they're fucking back there. I have a hard time believing it. It's a disgusting story. It's really hard to read about. But that seems like it happens always during summer. I think summer's coming up, if it's not already summer. That seems to happen a lot. People are like leaving their kids in the cars. It's such a common occurrence now, especially last year. Like I think like more than like 6 kids died by that way. Probably way more than that. That's like right off the top of my head. I can remember like 6 different times hearing about kids dying in the cars like by overheating or whatever. Let's say for 1 second that that's something that actually happens, and you just completely forget the kids in the car. Like what was on your mind that you were thinking about that was just so much more important than the child that you helped bring into this life? What could possibly be more significant that you were thinking about? I mean, I can't remember once even forgetting that my kid was in the back of the car or in the back seat. You know, I mean, she's talking and she's playing a lot, but even when she falls asleep, I always know she's there. You know, I just can't imagine how you forget about it. I'd really like to actually talk to somebody about that and see what they think about it. Who's ever done that? I'd like to hear like the mind frame they were in. I mean, I guess there's a situation where like if you're going through like a divorce or there's a death in the family, something very significant. Maybe maybe I could see that, but still, it's a weird situation. What else? What else do I want to talk about? Yeah, I also saw a video about on YouTube. It was basically about putting an end to the objectifying of women, but it was showing like Kardashian stuff and women on magazine covers, and I don't know if that's like uh objectifying, like because the way that I've always saw it was, or that I've heard other like I've heard feminists say stuff like they're taking power of their own sexuality, like they're taking control over it. Now, is that objectifying, or is that them taking control over it? I mean, I don't understand. I think I'm not sure what the feminists, like the average feminists, think about it. Um, I don't even know if there's even one response or one opinion, because I could see both. I could see how it's both objectifying or empowering. Either way, I don't know. It's a really good question though. I'm looking forward to like talking to somebody about that. Uh, yeah, it's like 2 in the morning. It's pretty dead silent over here. I'm trying my best not to wake up anyone, but I do have to kind of speak up when I do these things in order for the mic on my phone to pick it up. There's a lot of pressure talking to yourself talking to yourself alone in a room. It almost makes you feel a little crazy. I don't think I thought about it too much. I've always kind of pride myself on doing these things like completely off the cusp without anything written down. At least not on my part. Sometimes we have like group discussions that we want to talk about and we'll write stuff down. And that's fine, but I've always liked the idea of just kind of like letting whatever happen flow. it's really interesting hearing other people's podcasts. Like there's this guy named Todd Glass, I think. One of my other helicopter Chris turned me on to that guy. I listened to some of his, and his always start off with him talking to himself for a while. Or just talking to the mic. I don't know how he does that, and he's so good at it. Like he just sits there and he can flow so well. There's no, I mean, from what I've heard, I haven't heard any awkwardness or weirdness. It doesn't sound like a guy just sitting there talking to himself and confused. Like he always sounds like he has something to say. There's never like any hiccups or anything in his speech, and that's really cool. Like I don't know how to get to that point. I don't know how anyone gets to that point where they can just that they can just flow so perfectly uh through to the mic without anyone else in the room, without having anyone else. There's no other opinions. There's no there's no humor on anyone else's part. You're just kind of doing it all on your own. So I don't know how he gets content so well. I don't know how he gets all this content out just so easily. I'm a little jealous of that. I wish I could do that. Not quite. Maybe one day. Maybe it's something you got to practice, or maybe you just kind of have that personality where you can just kind of speak and everything falls out perfectly. That's not me right now. Yeah, at least not right now. Um, what else do I want to talk about? Um, I have all these really great conversations with my friends sometimes. Not necessarily my roommates or the people that are on the show. But there's other people that I talk to that I have these awesome conversations with. I mean, not that I don't have great conversations with Lorenzo, Chris, Jay-Z, or Paula, but I have other friends. I have outsider friends that I talk to, and I really wish I could like get them to come do this because they have a lot of really unique positions, or they're educated in one thing, and I just think it'd be really cool to mix it up. But I'm definitely gonna try to work on that this week and getting someone to talk to. Uh, but yeah. So my idea for the podcast, what I wanted to do was I wanted to bring on, I wanted to bring in one person who I said earlier, like I said, I started off earlier with, I wanted to bring in one person that had some type of like unique experience, and or excuse me, I should probably cut that out. I wanted to, or maybe somebody who's gone through something really interesting. You know, maybe someone that's been in jail for a while, or someone who's vegan. You know what I mean? Just like anything weird like that. Kind of like a Vice thing. I think Vice says that kind of thing, but like in a podcast form. Um, but basically, I wanted them to teach me about something that I didn't know. Like me personally, uh, I wouldn't consider myself a smart person, but I am like a knowledge seeker. I love to learn new things about things that just random things. Like I just love to learn. I like to hear other people's opinions about things we normally don't ever think about. I like to hear other people's perspectives. It's always been a thing with me. I always ask a lot of questions. I get to know people pretty quick usually because of it. Even though I kind of like not do it as much because I think it's kind of annoying now if you ask so many questions. But I really do like to hear other people's opinions. Um, so yeah, so it was gonna be kind of like the premise was them gonna be teaching me things, but not necessarily teaching, but like teaching through conversation, not like actual like a formal teaching or anything like that. Um, and not even like an interview type thing. It was just kind of like a conversation between two people with somebody telling experiences and going back and forth, kind of like that. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm really excited to do it. I've had a couple different people that I went on. I've even talked to one of them about coming on, but I'm just having trouble scheduling that for whatever reason. Uh, but yeah, as soon as I can do that, I'm pretty excited about it because they would have to break things down to me, things I don't know anything about, like I did a whole lot of research on the hijabs not too long ago, and there's so many questions I still have about it. Um, like regarding the Muslim community. Like, is it different? Is the opinions different about it here in the U.S. than they are like in the Middle East? How serious do they feel? Like do the women feel like they have to wear them? I know those are all kind of also unique to the person, but I feel like not necessarily that I can speak for the whole community, but I'd like to get like a general idea of what someone's opinion is. Someone who's like more Americanized though, just so they can see like where I'm coming from. I don't know, and also like it won't be like awkward. I've never actually like really spoken to anyone really that I know of that was Muslim. Like at least not as an adult. I'm sure I did when I was a kid, like kids at school and stuff. But yeah, I just think it's interesting at the very least. Personally, like I see the hijab though, and I kind of think like I can't help but to think I feel bad for them because from an outsider's perspective, as an American, I feel like I feel like it's like forced on them. But the thing is, I don't know if it's forced on them. Like I'm not well educated in it. It just I feel like it sucks. Well, it's not even the hijab's not even that bad actually. I forgot the full one. I forgot what the word is, but the one that like covers them like from head to toe. That one's fucking crazy. Like that's the one I feel bad for. Cause I mean that's gotta make your life hell. I mean I'm sure they're used to it, but it's like it seems demeaning. It seems dehumanizing. Like you're not even allowed to be seen in public. It's just weird for me. Also, I've because I've been out with my daughter. She's almost 4.5 right now, and there have been times where we've been out in public, and it's such a rare occasion that we see people in that full, not the hijab, but the one that covers their face and everything. Uh, we've seen people wearing that, and she would kind of like not freak out, but like she's very loud, and she'll ask me like, "What are they wearing?" or "What's going on?" or she's very curious, as any kid is. And I feel very bad about it because I don't want them to hear that and be like, "Fuck, they're talking about me," or they're excuse me. Sorry about that. I don't want them to feel like they're being like humiliated. It's gonna be embarrassing for someone to kind of like point you out in public and be like, "What's going on?" Even if they're like a little kid, and they don't know better. Like you don't want to draw attention to yourself. Personally, like I would hate that. So I feel kind of bad, but the thing is, like, it just doesn't happen enough for me to like remember to like talk to her about it and explain it to her. But even if I sit there and talk to her about it, I wouldn't even know exactly how to explain it because I'm just an outsider. So I don't know if I'd be able to give a good enough explanation to her. I mean, I could give her kind of a generic response. Sometimes, people are different. Uh, Different people have different religions. Part of these religions is the dress code. I don't know if it's a personal decision or religion, but I'm sure it could. Uh, just in general rule though, you should just probably teach your kid to be nice to everybody, no matter what. But especially out in public, you gotta teach them not to point people out and not to be weird like that. Like you don't want to see you don't want to see someone that looks like different in public and your kid point them out. Like that's embarrassing for me for my kid to do that. Like she's never really done it yet, at least not too bad. She's never pointed out anyone too badly, but it's probably a good role just to teach them. Like some people are different. Don't even acknowledge it, especially in public. If you want to ask questions about it, it's fine, but you don't want to. You don't want to put anyone in that situation. It's kind of embarrassing. So, I don't know. That's the best you can do, I guess. I guess that's the best I could do, also. Is just tell her not to treat anyone differently. Not to address anyone like that. So, and it's like 3 in the morning on Monday morning. Um, so yeah, just excuse like all these little hiccups I'm having or burping or whatever. I drink like a bunch of coffee before doing this, which might have been a mistake, but I don't know. This is new to me, so I'm still just kind of filling this all out. Um, what else was been going on lately? Okay, so I remember seeing a lot of stuff online during Mother's Day, and this is like a couple weeks old, but I feel like bringing it up anyway. Uh, I've been seeing like a lot of stuff. People post stuff like Happy Mother's Day, and I'll see dudes post stuff like fathers don't get like a real Father's Day. Like we get our Father's Day, but even on Father's Day, moms get like a happy, single mom Mother's Day thing. I'm sorry if this is really confusing. I should probably like plan this out better, but so basically what their complaint is on Father's Day, moms still get like recognition. And I can kind of see that point that even on Father's Day, you'll still see a lot of people saying Happy Mother's Day or Happy both Parents' Day or whatever. But I don't see it as a problem because there's such a massive amount. I mean, we talked about this on last week's episode. Is there such a massive amount of kids without dads? And yeah, there's a stigma about dads leaving, and it's because they do. They do leave a lot, very often. Not uncommon at all. So, if it's Father's Day, and you know a single mom, I don't see why it's a problem. I think it's perfectly acceptable, even if you're posting about social media. I know a few single mothers myself, and even if it's a Mother's Day, and they don't have, and there's a kid being raised by the dad, you can say Happy Mother's Day to them too. I mean, I don't see the issue. Personally, I mean, I'm sure someone else has some strong feelings about it, but logically speaking, it's a lot of these dads' faults for leaving, so I don't blame them. I mean, not that I don't blame the dads for leaving. I don't blame it when people go happy Happy Father's Day to the moms. Anyway, I'm kind of like ranting. That's another thing I'm trying to make a uh, a cognitive decision to not rant on about things and to repeat myself. I think that happens with all three, with Nick, Lorenzo, and I. Uh, I think we kind of tend to repeat ourselves just in order to make sure there's no dead air because that's so incredibly important. And I emphasize that point all the time that we can't have dead air. So maybe if you have to repeat yourself just to fill in the gaps between the current thought and the next one, I guess it just happens. Um, what else is going on in this day? Oh yeah, these floodings that are going on in Houston. So apparently today it's Monday. It's like I said, it's like 3 in the morning. It hasn't happened quite yet, but there is supposed to be like flood warnings. I actually work for a woman whose house is flooded like 3 times this year. I think we're in like 5 months into the year. It's already been flooded like 3 times. She lives in a condominium now. So she's like, for the second time, she ripped out her carpet and they're putting in tile. And that really sucks, man. Like, we're having so much rain lately. But the thing is, like, she's kind of in a good position because she can afford it. Man, there's gotta be a lot of people out there that just can't replace it. Who can't afford to, like, rip out the carpet and replace it with a new one. Like, if you don't have, like, flood insurance, that's really gotta suck. Um, so, you just gotta be happy, I guess, that if you're in a position that you can even do it at all. So, I guess that's good. What else is going on today? I've been playing a lot of video games. Is it an addiction? No. I can kind of put it down whenever I want, and it doesn't bother me. But do I want to put it down, usually? Nope, not really. Uh, and I've never been a gamer. It's funny because, like, I've been playing video games a whole lot lately. Because Nick has been off work because of his injury. So we've been playing video games a lot. But so, like, a hardcore gamer, I'm still not a gamer. It's funny how that works. Like, I don't want to admit to how much I play video games recently, but it's a lot. It's a lot more than it should be. But yeah, to like a hardcore gamer, I'm not a gamer. I played 2 games, Borderlands and the UFC game. But a lot of my friends are though. So I've been like exposed to a lot of good games, but I'm just not into them. For whatever reason, I'm just not a gamer, except for these 2 games. But I've always found these games to be I could only really get into a game unless it's like unless it's a co-op game, 2 player. I can never like just play with a computer. I don't know why. It felt kind of lame. I kind of felt like a loser. I don't have any friends, so I'm playing against the computer. I guess that's the whole reason behind that. Um, Here's another thing that I wanted to bring up. So there's been this local movement going on called what's it called? Kill your local heroin dealer. And for those who are like unaware, this is like kind of getting more. It's getting more momentum. I think mostly through the punk rock community because there's so much heroin, or so like there's a lot of opium issues in the punk rock scene. Uh, if I had to say what the biggest addiction I've noticed with a lot of the people I knew growing up was probably like the opium stuff, whether it be pills or yeah heroin. Um, I'm not exactly sure what brought it on. I mean, I'm sure tons of people are tired, thousands of people are tired of seeing their friends die, their family members die, but it's growing so much momentum, and I think it is that abrasiveness that kill your local heroin dealer, not these dare programs. But it's almost like I don't want to say trendy, but it's much more edgier. It's almost like an edgier dare or drug free program. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like not to be like not in a negative way that's like trendy, but like I don't know. Like I would wear a shirt that says "Kill your local heroin dealer." Would I wear a Dare shirt? Probably not. But that's also different though because like the Dare program is against like any drugs and alcohol and tobacco and a lot of that stuff is legal and some of it's like not a problem, but like all heroin is a problem. There's no one out there that's like got a mild heroin addiction under control. It just doesn't happen. If you have a heroin problem, your life is probably in shambles, if not very close to it. Um, Not too long ago, uh, I don't know if I want to bring it up actually. I had someone very close to me who had stopped doing it, but even afterwards, after being off of it for a certain amount of time, it still affected them. I think what I've read about it is your body's so used to getting it, this like dopamine. Maybe I could be completely wrong. I should probably look this stuff up before I say it. But I believe that it blocks off the things that basically make like endorphins, I guess. So your body is no longer producing that because it's so used to getting it through a needle in your arm, I guess. Correct me if I'm wrong through the YouTube comments or whatever. I probably am wrong, by the way. So yeah, even after they stop doing it, it's still like a major problem. They're not the same person anymore. And what's worse is like you can kind of see like glimpses of that person, but it's not entirely them. It's just like these little glimpses of what they used to be. Like it looks like your friend, it sounds like your friend, but it's not your friend anymore. It's this different person. And this is not even like during addiction. This is like far later after recovery. I think there's like a drug they take to get over it. I don't know. I saw a video today where basically this I guess like a white couple, I guess they were like in the ghetto of Detroit or something like that, and they were in a car and it looked like they had crashed into like a little sign, like a yield sign or something. Not like a big crash or anything. They just kind of hit it, and they had needles sticking out of like their legs and shit. And the caption was like some race baiting shit, like white couple, yeah, like white couple helped by black people or by black what would you call them, locals, I guess. uh and things like the headline was stupid because they're making it out to be like these people were helping them. There was like two people helping them, but everyone else was like taking video and taking pictures. So basically, I should explain it a little bit better. Um, so they're like completely passed out. They're like in the process of ODing in the car, in the front seat and the passenger seat, and um, someone's like pouring water on the girl's face, and that looks like innocent. Like it looks like they want to help, but like they kind of don't know what to do, maybe. And then at some point, somebody else starts like slapping the dude in the face like aggressively, not like a hey wake up, like a fucking like aggressive, just like smack to the fucking face. And they're doing it repeatedly, and they start yelling stupid shit at them, like your mom's gonna be upset, you about to go to jail. Like they're doing it for comedic purpose to this person who's passed out, who's in the process of dying. This is another human being that you're humiliating, you're disrespecting. Um, it was fucking disgusting. People are dying in the car, and you want to make like a humorous video for World Star or whatever the fuck it was for. I just found it so gross, and I kind of like disappointed that I share like blood with these people. They're like the same species as us, because like I always think it's interesting because like I've seen videos of like third world countries where there's like accidents, like people are like dismembered. There are people cut in half, or like yeah, like they're just these really morbid positions, and people are like all around them filming and laughing and joking. And it's like, oh, okay, they live in a third world. Death is like a normal everyday part of their thing. They see death pretty normally, and their value of life. When you see death that much, your value of life, it's probably pretty low. Especially when you know people are dying every fucking day. I could see that in a third world country. I could totally see that being an issue. So I don't look at them like they're monsters or anything. I just think that they're victims of their circumstances. Uh, but these are like people in Detroit, you know. It's not great there. It's not great, but it's not third world country. These are these are other human beings. Like you're kind of making a mockery out of their life. Probably one of the biggest mistakes they've ever made while they're dying. Like this person, actually, they could already be dead in the video. We don't really know. They're definitely not conscious whatsoever. And I was really grossed out by that. It kind of like pissed me off pretty early in my day. And at some point, this dude's like, he's telling someone else to hand him the pack of cigarettes that's laying on the girl. Like, God, man, it's so fucking gross. Like, you're stealing from someone who's like potentially dead before like their body's still warm, you know. It actually reminded me of a video that came out maybe 3 years ago. Um, this was right down the street from a grocery store that I used to have to like. Not, I didn't work at this grocery store, but I would go there for part of my job. I would have to go there like 3 4 times a week. It's pretty close to where we live. So basically, there's the video starts off. Well, let me just explain. This lady was like got done shopping at the grocery store, and as soon as she pulled out, she hit a tree. Like she pulled out, or somebody hit her. She hit a tree. I don't know what exactly the circumstances, but basically she hit a tree, and she had a kid in the back seat, like a toddler age son in the back seat. The woman died. She's laid there dead. Like she died on impact, and surrounded by people with cameras, like making jokes, and it's kind of like the same situation, except in this video, people are. The kid's crying in the back seat, like obviously injured, but still alive because you can hear the small child crying. But the people in this video are like snatching, like taking jewelry off this woman. They're taking her purse. They're taking her phone. They're looking through her glove department box and shit to steal. Like, this is like probably like just minutes after shooting, minutes after it hit, if even that. And I remember after seeing that, I never went to that grocery store ever again because that's what that reminded me of. That reminded me of a bunch of animals just kind of like, well, not like vultures, I guess, taking that of something that just died with a small child in the backseat crying. Nobody, maybe somebody called 911, I don't know. Uh, but it was just like a horde of people going through her shit looking for stuff to steal. Uh, as the kid cried in the backseat. So that's what that kind of reminded me of. People have, I don't know. It's weird that you could do that in front of so many people. Like maybe if I could see how some sicko could like do that by themselves, thinking they won't get caught. But when you're surrounded by like a ton of people, like over a dozen people, and you're doing it, and everyone else is doing it, I guess it's like that herd mentality where you think it's okay. I don't know. It's fucking weird. I don't get it. Um, I've seen a dead body in person. Some dude got like ran over by somewhere we used to live, and at no point in time was I ever like, oh man, I gotta get a picture of this dead kid or something. I don't know, but that's me, and I'd like to think that's the majority of the people in this country. I'd like to believe that like the vast majority of us are good, normal people, but there's some fucking sickos out there, and they all apparently stay in the same neighborhoods. So, I don't know. What else do I want to talk about? What's going on? I try to stay off politics on this thing because I don't like to hear politics unless I'm intentionally looking for politics. Like I don't like to hear politics in comedy. I don't like to hear it in music. I don't like to see it in movies. I hate anything pushing some type of agenda. Um, it's just kind of annoying. So I do my best not to put my political views in this. But yeah, Donald Trump is the front runner for the Republican thing. I think we talked about this though. I think we already discussed this. But yeah, that's kind of who saw that happening like 10 years ago. That's so weird. What a weird situation. But I don't know. Um. Okay, so also I was watching an interesting thing online today about well hmm. So okay, so the guy that does Triumph the Insult comic dog, the puppeteer, his name is like ah man, I forgot this dude's name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He was doing an interview where he was talking about in 2002 they were doing some like on location shoot at like a comic thing. And basically they like in the original version of the shoot they had some dude like holding up a sign that said fags, like talking about the comic kids, and then like it got like a big laugh. This is 2002. So 2002 I was like 12. I'm 26 right now. But then they said that when they were they had two different versions. It was that one, and then somebody sticking up the middle finger at these comic kids at Comic Palooza or Comic Con, whatever it's called. And he said a couple of the interns looked at that and they're like, "Oh man, that's a bummer. Like that's a little bothering." In 2002, the word fag, but at the time, the vast majority of people didn't give a fuck. Fags was just kind of like the word bitch or whatever. Fag wasn't like that bad of a word. Now, so it's funny how like they were talking about you never know what's gonna be acceptable in like 10 years, and I thought that was really interesting. Like, what else is not gonna be acceptable in 10 years? I'm not saying it should or shouldn't be. I'm just like the general question itself. What will be acceptable and not acceptable 10 years ago? I remember I've seen like some really old movies where they're saying the N word like pretty openly. If you've ever seen All in the Family, they use the N word like I mean, that dude was like racist as fuck. I forget the dude's name, but if you've ever seen that show, you cannot have a show like that today. Not that you should. I'm just saying. I'm noting. So in 2002, so that was like 14 years ago, right? Yeah. Yeah. So that's not that long ago. It's not like the 50s. It's not like the 70s or even the 80s or 90s. Like that's not even that long ago. A word has changed, or not the word hasn't changed, but how it hits people, and I can totally see how that's a problem now. Um, I personally didn't think it was such a big deal, but I remember a couple of, like months ago we were at Line. Uh, I think it was like to get tickets for the Deadpool movie, and I was on the phone with one of my friends who was like a couple feet down from me, and I remember I called him like a fag at something at one point, like jokingly. I was being I was being ridiculous. Like I called him a fag for something, and then I noticed the two chicks in front of me, like they looked like they were like they weren't facing me, but like from their haircuts and their demeanor, you could tell that they were like. There's a good chance they could have been gay. I don't know if that's offensive to assume somebody's gay from how they look and how their demeanor, but sometimes you can just tell by how people are dressed or how they look or how they act with each other. Oh fuck, my lights just went out. What the fuck was that? Anyway, um, yeah. So I remember thinking like, oh man, I just said fag. Like, how many times have they heard that word? Like aimed at them in an aggressive manner. That that probably doesn't feel good to hear. Like I don't know if all gay people take that word offensively. I'm pretty sure they don't. But I'm sure if you got picked on or fucked with a lot as a kid with that word, maybe that could be a problem. So I could totally see where that problem is. So um, I guess that's like one of those words that maybe you should like you gotta be super careful with. So from now on, I'm gonna be extremely careful with that word. I don't even say it that much. I guess like if I'm being ridiculous, like we have this, uh, like I guess straight guys, they call each other faggot a lot. Like, but when I say it, it's like I'm being a parody of like these jock like white guys. I don't know. Like in the same way that like I walk in the beer aisle with my friends, I'm like, ooh, booze, yeah. I'm a man. I like that stuff. Like that's almost like the same way I say the word fag. Like I'm making fun of these like overly fake macho alpha dudes. But yeah, but if you don't know me, you don't know that. So saying it in public, I gotta stop saying that. But I've never meant it like aggressively. I've never meant it. I don't think I've ever called anyone a fag to hurt them or anything. If I was, that would not be the right word anyway. Oh man. So I don't know. Is there anything else I want to talk about? I don't know. I'm surprised I was able to do this for so long. I think I'm like 43 minutes into this. I'm very surprised of how long I can sit down and actually talk to myself. I mean, I'm talking into like a mic, but it really feels like I'm talking to myself. So, I don't know. We had a little get together yesterday. We watched some fights. We ordered pizza, or we got pizza. We got like food, drinks, and stuff like that. We had kind of like a small little get together. It's really nice, you know. Even without like ordering pay per views or ordering food and stuff, man, it's really nice. Just like enjoy your friends. You know, tomorrow's not promised to any of us, and it's important to like let people know that you care about them. You need to like you really gotta enjoy life, man. You can't just be at work all the time or be a workaholic. You really gotta enjoy the little things in life that are free, like friends and family. So it's really nice to do that, like at least like once every couple months. Have friends over, have the kids get together and stuff like that. It's super important. And if you don't, man, you might just go fucking crazy. Uh, as humans, like I really believe like we really need to be around other people. Like you can go crazy. Um, I personally, I strongly enjoy, I strongly prefer, for the most part, to be by myself. Like I love my friends and stuff, but I enjoy my solitude. I enjoy putting my headphones on and just listening to music for like hours on end. I don't even know if that's most of the time. I certainly enjoy that aspect though. I gotta get that in at least a couple hours a day. Or like even in the mornings, I don't quite want to get out of bed. I just kind of like listen to music or I'll listen to podcasts just so I can kind of just be alone. And then if I hear people rumbling around in the kitchen or the living room or coming out of the rooms, I'll come out and say hi. Because I am very social, but I'm also very introverted. So I really enjoy both. I guess I should say. Um, it's always weird to me when people don't enjoy their solitude, when they have to be around people. I seem to know a lot of people like that. Not a lot, but a couple, where they just have to be around somebody, whether it be friends, family, or a girlfriend or something. Uh, it's weird. It's weird that some people don't ever learn to be alone. I think a lot of people get married, have kids, because they don't want to be alone. A lot of these like teenage moms, I think if things are going right in their house, they wouldn't become moms so early. Because I think the whole reason, if you're young and you have a kid, I think the entire reason and the only reason is because if you willingly get pregnant as a teenager, it's because you want to force somebody to love you. And I get it, man. I get that you need love. But with that love comes like this such great responsibility. When you're a teenager, you just don't have that power. You don't have that ability to do it. Even adult couples have trouble with it. Even people that have money, have their whole lives together. It's difficult. It doesn't matter what position you're in. Having a kid is always difficult. So people see a kid as in, man, this thing's gonna rely on me and it's gonna love me. No questions asked. It's gonna love. It's unconditionally gonna love me. So I'm not annoyed by like that 16 and pregnant show. I just feel bad for them. Not bad for them, but bad for them in the way that they felt like they had to have kids. Because I think that's all it is. I just think it's like a lack of love that they have in their lives. Um, but yeah, it's not for everybody. I used to think that was weird. When women would say they didn't ever want kids. To me, as a kid, that always sounded like counterintuitive. Like, what? You're a woman, you don't have kids? But we live in a different time now. Women want to focus on their jobs and school, and I'm all for that. If you don't want to have kids, don't have kids. Why, why bring more kids into this world? If you're not interested in doing that, or why be with somebody that wants them and you don't like? Don't force anyone to have kids that doesn't want to. I don't know. I think it's like, yeah. So I don't know. I didn't think I did. I wasn't sure if I ever wanted kids. I just kind of always assumed it would happen eventually. I guess that is pretty much what happened. Um, but yeah. What else is going on today? Uh, um, hmm. It's really nice having a dog in the house. I mean, she like bites the furniture and pisses and shits everywhere, but she's so cute though. There's a there's such a uh, a close similarity between having a puppy and a kid. It's so funny how that works. Like, I catch myself calling the puppy kiddo, and what else do I call her? I call her Punk, which is what I call Tara when she's like when we're like being rough with each other. Like if like I'm just kind of roughhousing with Tara, like we're just kind of giving each other an attitude. I'll be like, "What's your problem, Punk?" Or "What are you doing, Punk?" And when the dog like bites me or something, I'll like kick her off me, be like, "Ah, Punk, get off me." It's really weird how close like I don't know, they just kind of remind me of each other. Except, yeah. Except kids are just a lot smarter, though. Or at least they get smarter. But their bites are a lot worse than kids, too. For obvious reasons. But it's nice. There's like this weird sense of love with that dog. Like, I don't know. When she's being cute or doing something cute, there's just like this overwhelming sense of love. I've always I grew up with animals. Like, I'm a huge, huge animal person. When I was a little kid, I didn't have a fucking single friend. Like, I don't think I started making friends till like third grade. I had like one friend. So, growing up, I spent hours in one of my houses, like playing with a dog in the backyard for like hours a day. My dog Bear, that was like my first dog. I think he got in the house when I was like 3, and I think he died when I was like 17. And I remember like crying like a little fucking bitch. I love that dog. I just didn't have friends growing up. I don't know. I used to like sit there and talk to him all the time, and like every animal we had into the house, like cats, dogs, whatever, I always got really close with, just because I just enjoyed I enjoyed their company more, I guess, than other people. And on top of that, I just didn't have friends. Like, I was a weird kid. I don't know. I was awkward. I had like really low self-esteem. So yeah, I've just always been a huge animal lover. I definitely break faster when I see an animal in the street opposed to like a human. But that also might be because like the human knows to get out of the way. Like they're supposed to be smarter than animals. So I always just assume they're smarter. That's like a weird thing to admit to myself. That I break quicker when I see an animal in the street than I do than a human. Yeah. And there's a lot of people out there like that though. There's people with like. It seems to be much more of a trait that goes with like women though. I mean, there are tons of dudes that love animals, I'm sure. But personally, in my life, a lot of the huge animal lovers I know, they're like all women. But yeah. What else is going on today? I don't know. Um, I don't know. Let's think. What's going on in the world? I think that may be it. I think I'm running out of topics today. I don't know. Actually, I feel pretty good though. This is 53, so it's like I'm like 7 minutes short of a full hour here. This is just kind of an experiment. I don't know if I'm even gonna be able to do this again, or just one-on-one, or one perspective thing. I think I did alright though. I think an hour of talking to yourself is pretty good. There's a lot of silence and awkwardness and me stumbling on my words. So once again, I apologize for the final time. But yeah, maybe next week we'll bring in Lorenzo Nick again, but we'll see. So this is episode 12 of This Is Gonna Die. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Go to our Facebook page and on iTunes. This Is Gonna Die. And if, like I said before, if you're using an Android phone, like I do, the application, any podcast application, just type in This Is Gonna Die. Like I said, also, Podcast Addict is probably one of the best applications for podcasting. So I strongly recommend that one if you're interested. So check it out, guys. Like, subscribe, comment. If you have If you want to correct me on anything, go for it. No problem. I just hope you guys enjoyed it. Take it easy.